and welcome to the special edition of the AAU TV News, which brings you a much more comprehensive news on social matters and current trends in society. Today on this episode, we are bringing you a more comprehensive breakdown on COVID-19 and sales in the informal sector. My name is Lydia Nyame. With me are
Jimaima Daladem Duchi.
And my name is Ajiman Ochodako, and I'm glad you're joining us on this special edition. No go anywhere, we'll bring you more of the news after this short break.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distancing. You might just save a life. Rock at home, stay safe. Wash your hands with soap under running water. Spaced out but still in touch. Check in on your loved ones and stay safe. GTP, timeless.
You're welcome back from the break, and in this episode we are bringing you a comprehensive breakdown on COVID-19 and sales in the informal sector. Do have a look. March 15th, after the invasion of the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, the people of Ghana and the nation has suffered a number of discomforting situations across the various sectors of the country, especially the informal sector, which is the largest productive sector in Ghana. Right into the center of Accra, the AAU TV News team brings you the views of some traders at the Mokola Shopping Center on their experience with COVID-19 and sales.
We were looking forward to a much better condition in business, but honestly, checking your accounts after a long day's work, we can see that things are not so well. Considering the Christmas holidays last year, business was a bit well, but after that, especially this year, things have been very difficult. COVID-19 has really affected business, but we believe things will get better soon. I am also of the view that the restricting protocols that came with the COVID-19 pandemic have driven away customers with fear from coming to trade with us. Now we find many of them trading online since they want to keep safe, and we are aware of this transition. However, we understand the trend of buying and selling these days, mostly online, and we are making plans to join our customers on these online platforms like Instagram, where we can paste our products and they will see and buy. The only demerit here is that when customers come here, they will be able to see other products they will be interested in to buy, but only when online, they can only buy what they see, which we think affects business the more.
The market was doing well some time ago, but now, with COVID-19, everything has gone bad. This is because people of Ghana have been advised to stay home if they do not have anything important to do outside. And as market women, we just come and sit here hoping to sell something, but we get no one buying. Those other times before COVID-19 came, we were selling all right. But now COVID-19 is here and we are struggling with sales over here in the market. And we are unable to also take care of our families.
COVID-19 has made it difficult for customers to visit the marketplace because they are afraid they may be infected with the virus. And due to this, we are unable to make any steady sales here in the market. Somewhere last year, people were not used to wearing their face mask, but this year we find many people putting on their nose mask. But we as traders in the marketplace, the precautionary measures of COVID-19 has made face mask. But this year we find many people putting on their nose mask. But we as traders in the marketplace, the precautionary measures of COVID-19 has made things very difficult.
The COVID-19 pandemic is the main reason why our sales in the market have fallen. I'm sure that customers have no choice to stay at home in order to protect themselves to the expense of the business of the market women. I think the President Nana Addo has done a great job since the invasion of the pandemic, and we hope he takes us out of this as he has promised.
Well, there we have candid concerns coming from traders at the Accra Mokola Shopping Center. But I want to find out clearly, these traders have expressed concerns that COVID has cost them a lot in terms of sales. But to what extent would you say COVID has affected sales?
Well, I would want to say that watching the video, we saw the sentiments of these traders at various points, and you could feel how disturbed they were because of the conditions we found ourselves in. We have sensitized everybody to COVID-19, and one of the most dangerous places you can even go and can easily contract COVID-19 was the marketplace, because many people are there. Some don't conform to the protocols, and few do. So it is really a danger ground if you really don't keep yourself safe. So many people have actually succumbed to staying at home and adhering to the protocols, and also using other safer means to trade, buying things online, or perhaps going to the closest shopping center than going to mainstream markets where it's quite dangerous. So basically, sales would fall, unlike many years ago where people go out there to buy. Basically, this time it's a bit low. So we're going to find sales going, and it's quite normal for them that sales have fallen.
Jemima, to what extent do you think COVID has affected sales?
To add up to what Ajaman is saying, I agree to him that, people wouldn't go for... Right now, it's like people don't go for the cheap things. They go for the proximity of the object. So right now, they find it very difficult to go to the market to purchase goods, and they look at the proximity right now, not the cheap part of the object. Yes.
Would you say the problem with low sales is a worldwide problem, or it's just a problem faced by a few countries in Africa, especially in Ghana?
Well, if I recall, right from last year when lockdowns became a necessary action for governments in many countries, then you saw that businesses were just crashing down because we just couldn't go out there to have fun that we used to do or buy what we used to buy. We were at home. And when lockdown started, in some countries, some specific areas or recreational grounds were no-go areas. As of now, some tourist areas like beaches, restaurants, some bars don't operate. So you ask yourself, if you were somebody who just invested into a bar or a pub business, then you're going to lose out because your place is off, is banned from operation. And even those who run the beaches, you wouldn't be making sales. And some other places some other areas where they used to do public events, like our artists all over the world had to cancel their programs, their events, their shows. And now, if you really didn't save so much money, you will be reaping the disappointment because there are no shows for now. You're doing virtual concerts and all that. So you can tell that it's obvious that the COVID-19 pandemic and its necessary protocols that came to save our lives also, on the other hand, affected businessmen and women in the economy.
I would want to chip in the issue of South Korea because if you read a lot, then you'd find out that South Korea is a country that has less unemployment rate. But this unemployment rate increased hugely in 2020. Why? It's COVID-19. Because COVID comes and then some businesses are not allowed to operate. What happens if you're not allowed to operate? You definitely lose sales. Some people go to their various workplaces, but people do not come around to purchase. But who are our traders if we, the buyers, do not come to the market to purchase from them? Jemima, what do you want to add up to?
Yeah, I would say, when COVID came, it didn't only affect Ghana, but it affected the world. That is the same way the sales is also going to affect the world because the COVID hit the world by surprise. And I know it has affected businesses. As Ajman said, it has affected sales. Some workers had to close down. Even schools had to close down. So, the income wasn't coming as before the COVID. So it will automatically affect people's income, people's sales, and how goods go in and come into the country. It will also affect the economy at large.
Okay.
Let me make this point that some businesses who find their sources overseas, they actually import their goods and sell here. When COVID actually worsened, we had felt COVID that bad somewhere last year, March. Because the ports were closed, we had our ports closed, our borders were closed, even our seaports were closed, houses were closed. Now, any means where your goods could have come in was closed. Because that area, or let's say that source, is closed. So you, the receiver here, also be closed. The little stock they had, these businessmen and women were just crossed to either sell at a high price or low. Guess what? Would you sell your remaining stock at a low price, knowing that your source wouldn't be open in any moment from now?
Not at all.
Good. So all what they had as stock was increasing. Even things we knew were cheaper were increasing.
Yes.
Gari, a very basic commodity that when let's say an inferior good, basically, it's maybe inferior in some part of the world, depends. But in Ghana, it's an inferior good, means that when we earn more money, we don't buy more of Gari. Only when our finances are very low, we buy more of Gari economically. Yeah, it plays that way. The demand for Gari is lower when, because an inferior good, but it's higher. When we have higher income, we don't go for Gari, we go for other goods. But in this case, Gari, which was an inferior good, saw an abnormal uprise in price, which was quite disheartening. Why would Gari, the inferior good, gain so much value at a very critical point of COVID where we need food to buy?
Exactly.
That was a mismatch somewhere we saw in the economy, but it told you the urgency that COVID brought to change the way market women thought about these goods.
Okay, every single thing that happens in this world, in our daily lives, is definitely influenced by certain things. So I believe COVID-19 and its effect on sales is also influenced by certain things. So I want us to talk about the key influences of this particular issue that we find ourselves in.
Well, Roma, I would want us to share this one on this. I want to start with this equation in microeconomics, that a dependent variable equals an independent variable and a constant. Now, what plays out here is that whatever happens on the other side of the equation affects the dependent variable on the other side. So what are the factors here? Before every production or every supplier will bring goods to the market, there are things that happen. There are production inputs, we have taxes, we have income. I would say it on the part of the consumer and the part of the supplier, because it's sales right here, would do both. The producer or the supplier or the vendor in that position would also rank in their production function or their economic function, basically transportation, where the goods are coming from. If they go on their own to go and transport the goods, they pay something.
Definitely.
Advertising, they have to pay because that is what keeps the goods running. Taxes, which is quite inevitable. It can increase at any time. Taxes don't fall usually in our part of the world. It increases like that because government has so much expenses and government spends more taxes. So therefore, taxes don't decrease more, but mostly increase. The taxes are part. And other factors, which I would want to mention, production input basically, these things play out to affect the cost of the good, whether up or down. In these times, all of these factors have increased abnormally.
Exactly.
TNT increased because people were now the official number of people in the vehicle had to decrease somewhere last year, where we have 3 people on a row. The trotro driver wouldn't have charged the same way it was charging because when it was 4 on the seat, the fee was, let's say, 2 cities from Eastleigh going to Shashi. But because now it's 3 on the seat, we would have to now share the cost on each person to pay more than they used to pay. That is what COVID-19 has brought. The fuel also increased because fuel price wouldn't decrease.
Exactly.
Because the world were in the hoard. The fuel you hoard it because Saudi Arabia wouldn't be selling fuel because of COVID-19. It's a shutdown anywhere. So the fuel you have had to be hoard. And when you hoard fuel, the price increase because who has fuel will charge more. That was the dire need we were in. Fuel price increases. TNT wouldn't decrease, will increase. So you saw how sales were. And who would pick a trotro from here if I know that I can't bear it? I'll walk. So sales have really been dwindling with all these time with COVID-19. Right for the transport industry, I'll bring it down to the fashion industry. You see, materials costs and all that. So basically, COVID had played into all factors, making things difficult to make the sales that you want to make on a regular day.
Exactly. I would actually want to say that unemployment is equally a key influence of low sales because now people do not actually have that much money that we used to have because you get money by working. So in a case where you're staying at home and not working, definitely we assume you don't really have that much money. And when you find yourself in a situation like that as an individual, as a country, as a nation, you tend to prioritize certain things over others. So with the little money you have, you prioritize and then you tell yourself, this is of more relevance than the other. So we tend to purchase the things that are priorities to us and then we leave the others.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't used to be like that. At first, we used to buy everything that we needed. But now we just prioritize the one that we need the most, leaving the rest. And when it happens like that, it affects the traders a lot.
Yeah.
Jemima?
I'll talk about the taxes that, were put on our goods. Automatically when the tax is high, the one who is selling would not say that, okay, let me sell it at a normal price and forget about the tax I paid on the product. The tax that was paid, the money that was used for the tax will automatically be added to the buyer's money.
Sure.
The buyer would have to pay for that tax on the product. So it makes, sales go high and things get expensive and, people get to, find the cheaper part of it and not to go to, the broad markets.
Exactly.
Okay, now we'll take a quick break and after the break, we'll bring you more.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distance. Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. If you feel like stepping out, remember social distancing. You might just save a life. Rock at home, stay at home, stay safe. Wash your hands with soap under running water. Spaced out but still in touch. Check in on your loved ones and stay safe. GTP, timeless.
Welcome back from the break, and if you just joined the discussion, we are talking about COVID-19 and sales in the informal sector of Ghana. Now we'll move back to our discussion. I want to find out if there's any relation between the state of our economy now and the state of our sales.
Well, if you take the Ghanaian economy as at this moment, as at today, the budget for the year was read, like a week ago, and we saw the introduction of some new taxes, which some industries didn't really find that favorable. For example, the banking industry didn't find a 5% levy on banks on their industry as quite favorable for them. And whatever happens in one sector ripples around to other sectors. That's what the economy is about. And these taxes go a long way to create a deadweight loss for the consumer at the end of the day, because the producer will do as much as possible to share the cost with the consumer.
Exactly.
And now COVID-19 is still in existence. The nature of sales in our economy has changed. Now companies are basically living on their reserves, not the profits they are making. Because which company would boast of making the profit they used to make many years ago between last year and this year? I know would find companies lamenting bitterly because of the way sales went this year and last year, or last year and this year. For example, companies in the fast-moving consumer goods market would find things quite difficult because they rely on from the factory to the key distributor to the vendor. And now these vendors have to close their shops down and go home, lockdown. So how then do you sell? And now you can open your shop, but you don't find people coming to your shop because of COVID-19. People are staying at home. Only few people go to the market.
They go when they have to.
Exactly. And more people buy online as well. So you find the shop owner who has taken goods worth 2,000, 3,000, selling in the shop, not able to pay. And when you go collecting your money, they tell you it's because COVID-19 people are not coming. Exactly. It's a good anthem to give your supplier when they come around for the money. That COVID is making sales slower. And you need them to grow.
Exactly.
How would you get your profit? So I know that it's a big strike on the FMCGs in Ghana and other retailers who are also, because if you go and retail to go and wholesale and people are still at home observing COVID-19, how do you make your sales? So it is really a big stouch in the economy, basically, with vendors and COVID-19, which is quite undeniable.
Exactly, Jemima.
I would say, the state of our economy and sales has really come down due to COVID, and it has affected our money, our state of income so much that people go to shops and nothing comes in. We could hear from an interview from the woman who was saying that she comes to sit there and then, no one comes to buy because right now there has been a policy that if you don't have anything to do outside, just stay at home. So that person will stay at home and automatically buy online because the person doesn't want to go. And online also gets it easy because it delivers to your doorstep for you to just take it and use. So it makes, those who have the shops and, are not improved with this online and are doing their local buy and sell with the face-to-face, it has made them, really get affected with the present situation of COVID.
Okay.
Let me just add that income is one of the factors in the production function.
Okay.
And if your income increases, the tendency of you buying more of a good or something or a service is higher, and vice versa, it goes down, it is lower. Now, when your income increases, you now tend to look more for normal goods, which normally, when income increases, our taste or demand for normal goods increases. But when income falls, we now grow more love for inferior goods, which I put Gary in the bracket. I know some people in other parts of the world, they wouldn't agree that Gary to them isn't an inferior good, but in our country, it's in the bracket of inferior goods because we buy more of them when we have low income. COVID actually brought a lot of unemployment.
Of course.
I know a number of people who went redundant to COVID-19. The company couldn't keep up with their reserves and still pay them.
And the sad aspect is it isn't just something that happened in the past, it is still happening.
So
people keep losing their jobs each and every day.
It's pathetic, losing your and what happens is because there's no money to pay you.
Exactly.
So redundancies, you go home and then the company finds ways and means to pay those who they find more useful. That's unfortunate, right? And what do you think these people will be doing with that limited income? Right now, we're all living on limited income, which is not so much that we expect. So we'll now grow more taste for goods which are quite inferior because you can buy more in that condition than normal goods, which are beyond, which we buy more when we get more income. So I think that's one thing we should point out there.
Okay. Jemima did mention some traders moving their stuff to online. I want to find out if the current situation we find ourselves in terms of our economy and state, brings out the need for traders to move their stuff online.
I would say it should be moved, but then not everyone will be, should I say, willing or has that educative, nature to know what goes on online and how they are going to sell online and all that. Those people who are doing online currently, I'm sure started from somewhere. So the same way those in the market can also start from somewhere. But, some things, going to be sold online is what I look at because selling tomatoes online, selling, those...
Tomato is a necessity. So for tomato, even if you don't move it online, people would come. That's why when I was making my submission earlier, I mentioned that now people don't just buy anything at all. They buy things that are of great relevance. Tomato is something you can't live without it. But the woman who spoke, the one you were just talking about, the one who said these days people do not come to the market and for that reason, it makes it difficult for her to even feed her kids.
Exactly.
Such a person sells stuff that can be moved online. You move your stuff online because people are not coming to the market and that's why they are not buying. But these same people are online. So should you move your items online and add a little bit of credibility?
But I think that is if you see the credibility, how would the woman know how to, how to be able to advertise very well for people to come, follow her online to buy her stuff? Because it takes education, you see. So I would say that, such people can get educated on how to use online platforms so that they can also take their stuff, their goods, their product online so they can also market and sell just like what they were doing in the face-to-face, during the face-to-face.
That is why I share the sympathy of these kind of people at the informal sector. You are talking about people in the informal sector considering moving online. You know, we are talking about informal sector.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, but what other option do they have?
I mean, so it's a doom. I'm not spelling doom for them, but it smells like doom. Because how can they thrive online? They don't even use smartphones. These are people who have resorted to informal business, even though they have the chunk. Ghana's backbone, or say Ghana's economic backbone, relies on it because they are more. Unlike other places in the United States, where the formal sector is higher than the informal sector, that is where they have decided to be. And because of their numbers, they contribute more to GDP or to the country's revenue. But the issue is, are they in the capacity to fit the trend? Are they in the capacity to use a smartphone to accept an offer and then have it delivered? That is a difficulty we are facing here. Our country's literacy rate doesn't give us a room to have to roll everybody on to that ground. That is where we are saying that it might affect the economy. In fact, our revenue will fall as a country because they contribute more. But since they're unable to make the sales that they can make, then we're going to lose in revenue. And we can't do anything about it. No, my dean of the School of Graduate Studies at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, said something that if you really want to make money this time, then think of getting a motorbike for deliveries, because now it is order, deliver.
Exactly.
People wouldn't feel comfortable to go and buy again.
Exactly.
So if you want to invest something, invest in a motorbike. And I think that's the way to go. And I find so many restaurants in Ghana who were not used to do this. When did restaurants in Ghana start delivering food to their customers?
I mean, some had started, but it was only a few until
COVID. It was not done. You either drive there and eat or forget. Exactly. But now, they are even urging you that stay at home. We'll bring it to you.
Exactly.
That is the point. And that is how the economy... So we are keeping our restaurants surviving. What could have caused them to close was that people going to mass up there and eat. Right? And now they are saying, don't come here. Just send in your order. We'll cook it and send it to you. That brings them back to business.
Exactly.
That's the way to go.
Exactly. You know, this leads me to ask if there's hope for our economy, if there's hope for sales, if there's hope for everything that has gone bad in this system in the subsequent months and years.
Yeah, you know, what I just expressed was hope. You know, we knew. I mean, there's some places that there cannot be hope unless the president lifts the ban.
What are some of these places?
No, we cannot do e-beaching. You can't. Because after the beach, you have to be there and swimming. And mass up. You can't do virtual swimming. You know, you want to feel, unless perhaps every Ghanaian has a pool in their house.
But that's impossible.
But we can't do e-swimming. But for when it comes to food, we can do e-food.
Exactly.
Where you can order food and then have it at home. For that industry, there was hope. 2020, there was no hope because when the sudden close down came, if you had gone to buy a food stock of about 2,000 Ghana cedis and more, who were you going to cook it for? If you didn't have any delivery service in tune, what would you do? You can't cook. So they lost a lot of money at the stadium where people go and watch matches. They lost a lot of money because people go to watch matches and then they cook food for them and they buy. Now people don't go and watch matches. The stadium is empty. So who will you cook for? You can't cook for anybody. So they are losing their job over there. But in other places, other restaurants in town, they can now work on their customer base and now send a message that you can now order food, we'll send it to you. So there's hope for some parts of the industry.
Exactly.
And some parts too, there's no hope.
Jemima?
Yeah, I would say there is hope. I think I would side with Jemima that there is hope for some. You know, there are some apps that, have been developed for strictly food, dresses, those online apps and all that. And I think, that is a step in a good direction. That makes us know that there is hope, even if, clothing shops should be closed down. We know we still have apps online that will show us what we want, and if we are interested, it is delivered to our doorstep. So in those sectors, I would say there are hope. But in the other, the market woman moving online, it's very critical, and that part would need a more push before it's.
I mean, I think for informal, the people who belong to the informal sectors, I think the only hope they've got right now is for COVID to die out.
Exactly.
It's for things to get back to normal. And the sad thing is, I think even if things get back to normal, now people have got this ideology that I can sit in my house and still get everything I need. So I think even if COVID leaves, even if COVID is mitigated, still our informal sectors may face challenges.
Yeah, exactly.
The informal sector is one sector that's very hard to control because their daily bread is right from where they are.
Exactly.
They can't do anything about it. In fact, the one who sells tomatoes cannot sell tomatoes in their house because there are many people over there. The marketplace is the only place they can survive.
Yeah.
As of today, go to every marketplace and you find them there. Some wearing nose masks, some not wearing nose masks. Everybody and what they believe in. And they go and come all the time.
Yeah, they go and come.
Yeah.
That is the situation we're facing right now. If you try to stop them, you are collapsing the economy because no buying and selling for them. You don't get anything for revenue because they contribute more than the formal sectors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there we have managing a very tough situation. And I believe our leaders have been through quite a hard time because right from last year, our president was trying to curb things around, but it wasn't easy for him. What we hope is that at least a good number of Ghanaians will get vaccinated and we will see some positive light in the vaccines to save us all. Or if not for that, I hope there won't be any next spike because if the next spike comes in, it would affect us a lot.
I equally hope there wouldn't be any next spike. Now, we are almost bringing the conversation to an end, so I'll take your last and final words. I'll start with Ajiman.
Well, I would want to say that it's not been easy discussing COVID-19 and sales because that is one of the most difficult things to talk about in terms of what end.
Exactly.
It's very sad because people have really done so much investment and not repaying it. Even in the formal sector.
Exactly.
We were seeing redundancies, people laid off. And the only place you can't lay somebody off is the informal sector. Because you control yourself. But in the formal sector, people were being sacked. So if you are unemployed right now due to COVID-19, I'm really sorry for the condition. And for those in the marketplaces, that is their office, that's the economy for them. And they rely on us to make a living. And if we don't go and buy, they wouldn't make the sales. And we are also keeping ourselves safe. You know, I don't go to the market often because I don't want to get COVID. I don't want to just control COVID. So I go once in a blue moon with prayer and proper protection.
But you know, I don't think the marketplace is as scary as
it looks.
You make it
it's always terrible. People go and come back and then they have.
Because I mean, I see these market women going to the marketplace all the time without their nose mask.
Exactly.
Only if you go with it, and you never actually hear them.
Asymptomatic cases as well, so you cannot tell.
So you're telling me they've got COVID, right?
Let's try testing them and see. So I mean, it's a very difficult thing, but in their case, if I'm keeping myself safe from getting COVID-19, that means they're not getting someone to buy their goods and services. So I'm just hoping that everything comes to normal, where we can still go back to what we used to do. And if we don't go back to what we used to do normally, may God help us in this coming in the Ghana economy so things get better for them as well.
Jemima, your final words?
I would say, COVID has affected sales, our economy and all that. And we are just hoping that, things will get normal, especially to those who have lost their jobs. They were not aware. It just took them by surprise due to COVID. So we are just hoping that things will get normal. If not, even if you don't return to your old job, you can get something to do because COVID has been eradicated.
Okay, that's great. And this is where we end today's discussion on COVID-19 and sales. Thank you for staying with us on today's special edition. Do expect more from us same time, same day next week. My name is Lydia Nyame.
And I am Jemima Daladem Duchi.
I am Ajimon Ochudakwa, and thank you for spending time with us. Have a nice day. Bye.